Jeffrey Epstein case is in news again. US President Donald Trump recently called Epstein a man who refuses to die. And whenever Epstein's name rears its head, another name follows behind. Ghislaine Maxwell. Once a British socialite and daughter of a media tycoon, now a convicted felon at the center of one of the most notorious criminal cases of the 21st century. But who is Ghislaine Maxwell? And why is the world suddenly so interested in her all over again? Ghislaine was born into material abundance. Her father was the publishing tycoon Robert Maxwell. But her earliest years were disfigured by emotional neglect. 3 days after her birth, her 15-year-old brother Michael suffered an accident and remained in coma for the next 7 years. Betty, her mother, later admitted that after Michael's accident, the baby was hardly even given a glance by her devastated parents. But Ghislaine would grow up to become the favorite of her father. Her mother would later write in her memoir that her favorite daughter became spoilt. Quote, "The only one of my children I can truly say that about." Maxwell became the toast of high society in London and in New York. Her father apparently harbored ambitions of marrying her off to John F. Kennedy Jr., son of the late US president. But in November 1991, her world was turned upside down. Her father vanished from the deck of his yacht off the Canary Islands, and his body was later found floating in the sea. The boat was named Lady Ghislaine. She then shifted to New York to a 5-story mansion on the Upper East Side. Years later, prosecutors would suggest the property had in fact been funded by Jeffrey Epstein himself. Ghislaine Maxwell's relationship with Epstein soon grabbed attention. They shared what is called a mutually beneficial relationship. She would introduce him to her wealthy and powerful friends, among them Prince Andrew of Britain. He had the capital to fund the kind of lifestyle she had grown up to expect. But there was a dark side to all of it. In 2005, the parents of a 14-year-old girl told police that Jeffrey Epstein had molested their daughter. And 3 years later, he received an 18-month prison sentence. Epstein struck a controversial plea deal and served only 13 months with extensive work release. But the allegations did not stop. Epstein was arrested again in 2019 on charges of sex trafficking, and he died in prison cell just over a month later. Inevitably, the authorities' focus then turned to Maxwell. In July 2020, she was arrested in New Hampshire, accused of aiding Jeffrey Epstein in the sexual exploitation of underage girls. Her court case revealed chilling details of her role in recruiting and grooming minors for Epstein's abuse. A dark chapter that spanned from the mid-1990s to the early 2000s. Now, the charges that Maxwell facilitated the sexual exploitation of girls for Epstein's and his friends. She allegedly arranged messages and took girls aboard Epstein's Lolita Express. In December 2021, Maxwell was convicted on 5 federal charges. By June 2022, she was sentenced to 20 years in federal prison. Now, Ghislaine appealed the verdict, not claiming she is guilty, but by arguing that she was in fact exempt from prosecution under a clause in the non-prosecution agreement that Epstein had struck when the first time he was arrested. This week, the Department of Justice has called on the Supreme Court to reject an appeal by Maxwell to in fact overturn her conviction. Maxwell remains in jail, convicted for her role in the Jeffrey Epstein scandal. She stands convicted of sex trafficking of a minor amid other serious charges. But as questions keep arising over the Epstein files and why the Trump administration suddenly closed the case, Maxwell is an important piece to this puzzle. While the FBI and US Department of Justice say that there is in fact no Epstein client list, it is only Ghislaine Maxwell who can in fact attest to this. But the question remains, will Ghislaine ever speak up, reveal details that the world is still hunting for? And who will be affected the most if she talks?